Assalamu alaikum. 6 p.m. This is Radio Pakistan. The news read by Sumaira Kamal. The headlines first. Prime Minister says the Muslim countries can regain their remarkable strength by ensuring the basic values of Islam, particularly socio-economic welfare and rule of law. Foreign Minister has urged the United Nations to play its role for resolution of outstanding and decades-old disputes of Kashmir and Palestine. President of UN General Assembly has urged Pakistan and India to pursue the path of dialogue for peaceful resolution of Kashmir dispute. Interior Minister has ruled out governor rule in Sindh, saying the federal government is not interfering in affairs of provincial government. National Assembly was informed today that the government has decided to import wheat and sugar to maintain strategic reserves of the commodities. In Indian illegally occupied Jammu Kashmir, anti-India protest demonstrations were held at many places to condemn the surge of Indian atrocities and failure of fascist Modi government in saving lives of Kashmiris from deadly coronavirus. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Imran Khan says the Muslim countries can regain their remarkable strength by ensuring the basic values of Islam, particularly socio-economic welfare and rule of law. He was virtually delivering a keynote address at the International Conference on Civilizational Values in the Prophet, peace be upon him, Seerah, organized by the Islamic World Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization at Rabat, Morocco today. The Prime Minister said whenever in the history the Muslims rose, the main reason was their adherence to the foundation of a true Islamic society, caring for humanity and ensure meritocracy. He said his aim was to transform Pakistan on the lines of Islam's first social welfare state of Medina, which cared for its weaker sections including poor, widows and orphans. Imran Khan said the Muslims liberated the humankind from undue slavery, ensured meritocracy and produced best scientists. Imran Khan said Pakistan will host a World Environment Day on 5th of next month, which is acknowledgement of our efforts to address the challenge of climate change. Addressing a tree plantation ceremony in Haripur to mark the plantation of 1 billionth tree under 10 billion tree tsunami project, this was stated. Imran Khan said force behind the government's 10 billion tree tsunami project and other such endeavours was its objective to leave behind a Pakistan with protected environment and free from pollution. The Prime Minister said through billion tree tsunami projects, the government is striving to protect the wetlands and revive the wildlife which had reduced to a greater extent. Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi has called upon the United Nations to play its role for resolution of outstanding disputes of Kashmir and Palestine, which are on the agenda of the Security Council for the last 7 decades. He was addressing a joint news conference along with the UN General Assembly President Volkan Bozkir after talks in Islamabad today. Shah Mahmood Qureshi said there are similarities between Palestinian and Jammu Kashmir issues, and the oppressed people in both the territories are faced with the worst form of human rights violations. He said Kashmir dispute is a reality and nobody can remove it from agenda of the United Nations Security Council. The President UN General Assembly said the UN position on Kashmir dispute is governed by its charter and the applicable Security Council resolutions. He appreciated Pakistan's efforts for peace and stability in Afghanistan. Volkan Bozkir has urged Pakistan and India to pursue the path of a dialogue for peaceful resolution of the issue of Jammu and Kashmir. Speaking at the National Defence University Islamabad today, he said peace, stability and prosperity hinges on normalization of relations between Pakistan and India, which is possible by finding the resolution of the Jammu and Kashmir dispute. The UNGA president said he encourages all the parties to refrain from changing the status of the disputed territory. Minister for Interior Sheikh Rashid Ahmed has said bandits ruling in the Kacha area of Sindh will be completely eliminated and the federal government will provide all-out support to the provincial government. Addressing a news conference in Karachi today, he said ensuring law and order is the joint responsibility of the federal and provincial governments. He said modern weapons and equipment will be provided to the police. Sheikh Rashid Ahmed ruled out governor rule and any intervention by the Prime Minister in the affairs of Sindh. This is Radio Pakistan. The National Assembly was informed today that the government has decided to import wheat and sugar to avoid shortage and price hike. Responding to a question during question hour, Parliamentary Secretary for Finance Zain Qureshi said 4 million metric tons of wheat and sufficient quantity of sugar will be imported to maintain strategic reserves of the commodities. Answering another question, Parliamentary Secretary for Commerce Alia Hamza Malik said Pakistan's exports have increased by 13.4% during the last 10 months, which is unprecedented in the history of the country. Chairman Kashmir Committee Shahryar Khan Afridi says Pakistan stands with the oppressed people of Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir and Palestine. Addressing a seminar titled Palestine and Kashmir Crisis Call for Justice in Islamabad today, he said the whole nation are on same page on this issue. He said Indian regime is replicating the Israeli model in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir and the world must prevent it. In Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, anti-India protest demonstrations were held at many places including Srinagar to condemn the surge of Indian atrocities and failure of fascist Modi government in saving lives of Kashmiri people from deadly coronavirus. According to the reports, clashes between the youth and Indian forces also reported in Anchar area of Srinagar during a visit by Indian police officers. The youth raised pro-freedom and anti-India slogans. Several people were injured when police used brute force and fired tear gas shells on the protesters. The Jammu and Kashmir National Panthers Party activists led by party chairman Harsh Dev Singh held a silent protest in Jammu against the Modi regime. Meanwhile, in a statement, All Parties Hurriyat Conference Secretary General Maulvi Bashir Ahmed Irfani urged the United Nations to take serious action against arbitrary use of draconian laws by fascist Indian regime against incarcerated Hurriyat leaders and activists. United Nations Human Rights Chief Michelle Bachelet says Israel's deadly strikes on Gaza might constitute war crimes. Speaking at a special session of the UN Human Rights Council in Geneva today, she said that no evidence was seen that civilian buildings in Gaza hit by Israeli strikes were being used for military purposes. She said the UN verified the deaths of 270 Palestinians in Gaza, the West Bank and East Jerusalem, including children in Israeli aggression. Palestinian President Mohammed Abbas has urged on international community for launching an internationally sponsored peace track in the Middle East to end Israeli occupation of its territories. Talking to British Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab in Ramallah, he called on Britain to help end Israel's assaults on Palestinians in West Bank and East Jerusalem. He said Palestinians want to establish their independent state with East Jerusalem and its capital in accordance with international resolutions. In Congo, tens of thousands of people have been evacuated from the city of Goma over fears of another volcanic eruption. Military governor of North Kivu province said Mount Nyiragongo could erupt once again as magma had also been detected underneath Goma and nearby Lake Kivu. According to the UN, a volcanic eruption over the weekend killed 32 people and left thousands homeless. And finally, the weather. Mainly hot and dry weather is likely to prevail in most parts of the country, while very hot in southern Punjab, Sindh, central and southern Balochistan during the next 24 hours. To end the news, here are the headlines once again. Prime Minister says Muslim countries can regain their remarkable strength by ensuring the basic values of Islam, particularly socio-economic welfare and rule of law. Interior Minister has ruled out governor rule in Sindh, saying the federal government is not interfering in affairs of provincial government. In Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, anti-India protest demonstrations were held at many places to condemn the surge of Indian atrocities and failure of fascist Modi government in saving lives of Kashmiris from deadly coronavirus. And that is the end of the news. For more news and analyses, log on to our website radio.gov.pk.